Hey, what is up ladies and gentlemen, I'm Mario here once again and I'm back for some more of the Maxi Toys videos. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to more Let's Play of NES remakes for the Nintendo Wii U eShop download. So last time we actually did fully concluded with remakes 2 stages by the forms of stages 16 through 25. Even though we did manage to get ourselves the last 3 stars on that particular previous attempts between stages 17, 19, and 22, but even then, that we've managed to get those stars in the end. So even then, that despite that I did have some bit of frustration, trial and error here and there, especially in golf in that case. And yeah, let's not talk about these little kinds of stuff for now, because today for this episode is the fact that we're going to be moving on into the final catalog of the forms of NES remakes has to offer. And that's the forms of the bonus stages. So even then though, as you can see, we didn't get as many stamps as I liked it would be, but even then though, we only got 4, much like how it does it for last time. So naturally, we've only got about 13 more stamps to go. Until then, that the stamp collection will be fully completed. So that's how it goes. But this little sense of tradition and for that little demanding for that little, you know, completionist as far as that was concerned, and plus getting the stamps are a little bit more harder to get this time around though, because even then, you can definitely tell about the fact that we're gonna get some, you know, a lot of potentials to actually get yourselves a whole abundance of, you know, some points, especially with that there are some rare occasions where you're able to actually grind for some more points, due to how the fact that, yeah, that's what I can really tell for this little parts. But I digress, folks. Here we go on to the first ever stage in the forms of the bonus stage, and as you can see on this footage, we actually come across into another NES game we did manage to actually go ahead and see on this footage. This game is actually known as European Champion. Basically for this particular game is a 2D fighting game. That's all there is to say. What we have to do is very simple. We need to actually beat someone during the likes of the ring match. And that's all you're really trying to do. That's all there is to tell. So, yeah. And plus as a result though, as you can see on the bottom right or the bottom left corner, there's actually a stamina meter, which actually represents what the green numbers actually represents. That's your stamina, so even then plus you do have to worry about the time limit thing as well, so just in case you don't lose your match. So even that, well, the first 2 sections in this particular stage is very simple. We need to deliver the light punches or the medium punches, and that's it. But the final section is that you need to basically try to knock your opponent into the manhole, and that's all you're really trying to do. I don't think there's any much stages more than that in this particular game, because there's only 1 stage in European Champion, unfortunately. I kind of wish there's more to it, but because of how the fact that it's all, you know, just very simple premise of the fighting style of gameplay, I think that's what they're trying to go for, is the fact that they're trying to make it as one short stage as possible, though. I'm pretty sure that's why I was sort of mistaken on that one. So 540 stars right about now, so naturally we've unlocked stage number 22, but don't worry, we'll get to that in a moment. So next stage we have is going back into the Legend of Zelda, but not just the Legend of Zelda by itself, we're going to go through the second quest playthrough. The second quest of the Legend of Zelda is basically this game's hard mode, because even then though, that the only major difference between the main game, especially with the second quest playthrough of the Legend of Zelda, is the forms of the different ways you can actually enter in a dungeon, especially with the different rooms themselves. So that's how it goes with these particular moments where, and there's also another emphasis when you're able to actually try to leave the actual rooms of the dungeon. Sometimes you do need to waste your heart until you're able to proceed, because even then, as you guys should probably already know, that we did manage to take away our heart container now, which even then that makes it considered to be one of the hardest version of the, you know, the Legend of Zelda as far as the original game goes. So, anyway, so we've got ourselves, I won't guarantee I won't get the rainbow stars on this run through, but I'll definitely take 3 stars as it is. So, if I have to kill the stealth foes faster enough or what have you, I think that's the only tricky part to get the rainbow stars on this. So here we go on to, before we get into the third stage, here's yet another NES game we're about to be going to go ahead and play through, and now it's the forms of baseball. Not much to really say about baseball, it's just, well, if you like baseball, then you're pretty much loving this. As a matter of fact, that me and Luigi did manage to tackle through one baseball game for our YouTube channel, as you guys already know. And that was in forms of, you know, Mario Super Sluggers for the Nintendo Wii, during the likes of how the fact that we actually did done this Let's Play, but in forms of 3 months ago. Which, if you probably want to check that out, then by all means, you can able to look that up. So, especially noticeable how the fact that, we got so many views on that particular Let's Play, as far as I'm aware, because of how the fact that most of the United Kingdom people didn't even recognize the game until now, when we did done a Let's Play of that game, where me and Luigi managed to done through. But I know for the fact that in the, technically Mario Superstar Baseball actually only has saw the light of day in forms of, well, for the GameCube in the UK version, and most of the countries as well. That could be the same applies to the exact same system where there's this fighting game called Fighter's Destiny between Fighter's Destiny and Mario Superstar Baseball. Those two games only came out all the countries between America, Europe, and especially Japan in a viral way. But however though, between Mario Super Sluggers, which is a sequel to Mario Superstar Baseball, and especially noticeable with Fighter Destiny 2 for the Nintendo 64, those two games only came out and only saw the light of day between Japanese and North America. However though, unfortunately for United Kingdom, those two games never saw the light of day in our country, which can be the same applies to Kirby's Dream Collection as well for the Nintendo Wii. But that's just how I can usually just try to able to see that one coming, so... Anyway, so stage number 4 is basically we need to basically go into Donkey Kong yet again, but now everything else is normal, but except the fact that we need to actually grab Mario's hat, which even then though we actually be playing as Luigi, of all things. And I liked how the fact that I've accidentally died, but the game still encourages me to actually complete the challenge. Huh, I never thought about that, naturally. So anyways though, so we got ourselves the next stamp right here, which is based off from Ice Climber, but it forms of that polar bear. So, yeah, there's not much to tell. And speaking of Donkey Kong, here's another NES game we're about to be going through here. This is the forms of Donkey Kong 3, which appears to be more accurately a third entry of the Donkey Kong NES entry. I won't count Donkey Kong Jr. math though, because it's more likely a spin-off of all things. But usually all you have to do is basically just teach up some maths and all things. Out of all the Donkey Kong games, as far as you guys already know, as far as the actual premise of this game looks, this might actually be one of the worst entries of Donkey Kong Trilogy, of all things, of the NES games. But usually I don't have many issues with Donkey Kong because it reminds me like the arcade version, especially noticeable with Donkey Kong Jr. as well, so... this game is pretty much different from the likes of Donkey Kong, the original, and Donkey Kong Jr. It's the fact that you're playing as this one particular man over there that you might be thinking was Mario, but it turns out it wasn't. I don't know exactly what his name was though, but I might as well have to research on that in a future time. But basically, the entire objective in this game is basically we need to keep on spraying either these insects, as you can see here, or Donkey Kong. The most majority objective is basically we need to spray Donkey Kong of all things until you're able to actually just complete the actual stage. I'm pretty sure that's how the ultimate goal of this particular game works. I'm pretty sure. Alright, so that's it for stage number 5, even though I haven't got the rainbow stars unfortunately, but now we're moving on to baseball once again, but in forms of win the game. So this means is that we're actually on period number 9, is that we need to be able to get any of those points until we win the game, so that's all you're really trying to do. I have to admit though right away is that the early rendition of baseball is not that perfect by any means, unlike the ones in Mario Super Sluggers to me, because there are some plenty of times where it feels more likely archaic design choices where, obviously the main controls of this particular game is very obvious, is that you just simply press the A button until you swing the bat. And then I don't know exactly how I'm supposed to know about the pitching, because I've never actually got to that point for pitching. But I digress. But hey, at least we got to the third base and the second base for those, both of those players. Oh, please, 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 please. Don't you ever think about that. Oh, could you really tell I absolutely despise this mission so much, people? If you probably do not know how much recording attempts I've managed to done, granted it wasn't exactly on there with me, but let me tell you right off the bat though, it took me 20 attempts. 20 attempts to able to actually just trying to proceed to this stage. Because the only major downside of this particular stage though, to me though, is not something to do with the actual controls and stuff like that, it's actually total luck based. Now, I mean, luck-based is the fact that every time you hit the ball, with the batter in that case, but then sometimes if you ever try to think about trying to able to get a home run, as you can see here, but the fact of the matter is, you need to be right on with your hitting with the bat, and even then, as a result, if you manage to done it with a wrong, simple mistake, chances are you might as well get outs plenty of times, which even then, now, that can really tick me off. Oh, God, I have no idea for this point, folks, but I want to go back to Mario Super Sluggers again so that, excuse me, so that I can able to get used to with the controls again. But still, it's incredibly archaic and plus a little bit old school for my liking. So yeah, I really hate these challenges like this. But not until when it gets to the point until the later portion of the game, unfortunately. But since we've done with stage number 6, quite frankly though, and now we're about to be moving on into stage number 7, which appears to be on a yet another sport, by the forms of the NES game we're going to be playing through, and that is tennis. Not much to tell for this game, it's just basically simple tennis, so not much to tell. I think the first time I've ever experienced the baseball game is actually forms of the Wii Sports game, which came bundled with the Wii console. But, I haven't got too much fond memories about the, Mario Superstar Baseball, unfortunately, because we haven't got that game until, like, well, during last year, I've managed to got the sequel of the Mario Baseball game for the GameCube, which is Mario Super Sluggers for the Wii, and then obviously I have to import the, I have to get the, my third Wii console, but it only plays North American titles. I haven't got that much American stuff, unfortunately, for the likes of, you know, my third Wii at the moment. Granted, that's only because of how the fact that the postage is getting a little bit more, how do I put it, stingy at one point or another, but that's just how it is for me. So, anyway. So, yeah, basic premise of tennis, though, is the fact that we need to able to move around with the directional pad, obviously, and hit the ball with the rackets by simply just press the A button. And I believe in order to press the, in order to do a lob shot, is by simply we need to press the B button, as far as I'm concerned with this. And just to let you know that much like a baseball game, this is the game I'm not exactly good at, because for one thing, the first time I've ever experienced tennis, as far as the actual sports event goes, is actually forms of when I first time playing through Mario Power Tennis for the Nintendo GameCube, and that was the only time I've ever first time experienced tennis. So, at least both reality and basic video games entirely too. Oh goodness gracious! I've got one life left. Speaking of such, how to restart? Oh, it doesn't look too good, I'm afraid, for the forms of the actual starters for this particular, challenges like that. In fact, yeah, there's not much I can tell, but even then, that, you need to be right on with that exact timing with the racket, with your tennis whacking, spinning, or in this case, just swinging in general. But most of the time, you just manage to get yourselves, wrong, or in this case, weak hits. Which even then though, that's incredibly impossible for me, because unlike the ones when I was so used to with Mario Power Tennis for the Nintendo GameCube at this point, finally we've managed to pass, is that I managed to able to have no problems with it whatsoever until when it gets to like, you know, Mario Tennis Ultra Smash, that it feels incredibly bare bones as it is, like the lack of content and everything. But even then, at least I found these games to be quite enjoyable as it is, so. And since then, that Mario Tennis Aces for the Nintendo Switch will be confirmed during that time period. So I'm hoping, I was really excited for that. At least I was hoping they fixed a lot of issues I had with the majority of Ultra Smash, because Ultra Smash does have a really bare bones content and it's not much funner than that. So anyways, here we go back into Donkey Kong 3 once again, but in forms of exterminating all these insects, because normally you're trying to able to deal with you know, Donkey Kong over there. Almost like Dr. Eggman for some reason. If you think about trying to deal with Donkey Kong right there, you're expecting to be able to success for this particular mission? No, you need to basically, we need to, you know, exterminate every single enemies on screen, you know, like the swarm of flies, and especially for those little caterpillar enemies, as you can see here. But then, that's all you're really trying to do. As you can see on the bottom part of the screen, there's actually 5 plants over here. The only time you do actually fail in this particular game is the fact that you're gonna get hit by insects a lot, or especially when these insects carry up to 5 different plants, and then the game is pretty much over. So even though that's all you really have to worry about until when you're able to actually just like, although it's another emphasis when you're able to add to your score type of syndrome like this, but still, that's all it really does. Alright, so we've now unlocked stage number 23, and now we move on to stage number 9, which we have keep a rally going for 10 shots. Well, this is pretty simple. We have to basically try to able to keep in track of how much relays shots we can get. Oh jeez, I have to be so darn precise on that shot. Even for that hit anyway, because even then again, the only time you do manage to fail in this particular challenge sometimes is in forms of, if you let the ball hit to its body shot, all of a sudden is that you will accidentally fail miserably. So I like this part right there. It's that much like how it does it in the Ice Climber stage, in the forms of Remix 2 stages, it just everything goes in black and white every time you start the actual relay shots. Because it reminds me like I was playing tennis game on the Game Boy on the big screen. But except the fact that, well, it's basically just an HD console and all that stuff. Speaking of such, I don't know if you guys should notice, is that I've managed to recently fix up the screen size of this particular stuff. Because you remember back in the previous videos ago, that naturally I just managed to able to actually realize I've got these black borders all over the place for specifically capturing footage on the Nintendo Wii U console, I should say. Thankfully though, I did manage to fix that tradition by the forms of making the actual screen full this time. See, Fernando, that makes a hell of a lot more better when it comes to quality and all that. So, I do worth credits too though, because oh shoot. Anyway, so here we are at stage number 10, is the fact that we're actually going on to auto running sequences right here, in the forms of dashing through 5-2. Oh, for the love of God. I just cannot stand this mission. In fact, this reminds me of something related to the stage from Sonic 06, Mark Speed sections and all that stuff. It's like, Elisa's train is... Uh-oh, gotta speed up. Oh, jeez. Every time I say that line, every time when it's like this objective pops up, jeez, it always reminds me of those stages, honestly. So anyways, you're dashing through 5-2, and basically the entire objective is very simple. We need to make your way to the goal when you're continuously running. So, oh, come on! Oh, shoot. I got hurt by that paratrooper by the likes of, you know, just... You know, I died instantly. And there's no way we can get the mushroom in this particular mission either, because you have to do this within one flawless run through, because even then though, that if you manage to, like, there's no way you can backtrack from that too. So even then, oh, it's the exact same enemy every time. I always get hit by this enemy. Oh, I need to figure out which one is the pattern here until whenever I start to realize of how much struggling I might get. Oh, God, I hate when that happens though sometimes. Even especially noticeable if you think about trying to do a speedrun tactics, like me and Luigi never normally do speed run throughs sometimes because, well, for one noticeable thing is that, for example, in Super Mario 64, the 16-star run, which I know some people already accomplished that, but I've never got to performing that because performing those glitches can get a little bit more tougher to actually get to. Oh, it's near towards the end. Oh, I screwed up for that one jump. Oh, mamma mia. Oh. Okay, just need to concentrate. I don't know why I take myself slowly, and as a result, I have to restart this particular task at hand. But normally we're almost nearly towards the end of the game actually, because after all, then we got about like let's just say 16 stages left until the actual premise of the no, not the Rainbow Stars, but I'm thinking of something related to the, you know, the 3 stars run through, so even then I could expect it that, finally, God, I've now managed to pass that level. Oh, that took me quite a lot of practice on that stage, especially noticeable you need to figure out the patterns of these enemies themselves. Not to mention that, with all these little things in mind, it always reminds me of Mark Speed sections by the forms of, well, Sonic 06, or in this case Sonic the Hedgehog 2006 even, so naturally we've got almost every single Rainbow Stars, the only few exceptions mind you, by the forms of the first 2 stages and the forms of stage number 4, but even that's as all as I can tell. So here we go with mission number, or in this case stage number 11, is that we're going back to tennis once again, but this time we have to win the match. Oh boy. If you thought tennis wasn't bad enough, then, well, let's just go say that much until now for this stage. In fact, I can't even tell you right off the get-go is the fact that, but at least in tennis, it's more likely skillful at first, but it's just that you need to be right on with controls. Alright, here's another jump cuts right here. In fact, let's just say 15 jump cuts later. How the fact that you know how much of a fact how bad the sensitive the controls are in this game, because you know, unlike the ones in Mario Power Tennis or even in Mario Tennis series, as a result, at least you can able to move the character within a nice little spot on flawless spots, but not so much for this game because you need to be right on with the actual emphasis on angle department, specifically with your tennis racket. And even especially noticeable, you don't want to get into your body slam too much. So, yeah, I hate when some challenges is like this, especially when you actually think about, for one thing, that some of these events can drag on for a few seconds, and secondly, you only have like 1 health to your disposal, because if you mess up at least once, chances are you're gonna get a game over, and at least on the plus side for the game overs though, on the other hand, is that thankfully though, you do have 3 points, but even then it's not by much by the looks of those old things. But naturally that's all I can tell for this point in time. But anyway, so now we've done with that. 570 stars at the moment, which we actually gone pretty well so far. And we've got the next stamp right here, which I believe that's actually based off from Donkey Kong Jr. In the forms of the final stage, we're able to free Donkey Kong out by the evil clutches of myself. That's the most embarrassment. For my life though, anyway. And talk about this old central tradition of baseball. We have to basically try to hit the disappearing ball and get onto the base. So, hopefully I might as well give myself some chances here. As far as I noticed is that the visual standpoint on this particular stage do change slightly into its foreshadowing. So, that's all it really does. Alright. Oh! That shot is not too bad. But until the third and final section though anyway. Which I'm hoping I might as well able to pass that. Which I wholly guarantee by that. Oh, I missed it. I must have done it too early. Let's do this one last time with my 1 unit of health left. Oh, that's actually a really good shot. And in fact, I deserve a home run. Thankfully though, with the baseball anyway, the time won't increase upwards every time you see the home run is on screen, because even then though, the time will sometimes stops. Every time when you achieve something like a home run for instance, so at least we got that. And even then though, between both tennis and baseball, those 2 games were very generous of you, just trying to get yourselves Rainbow Stars to begin with, unlike golf on the other hand for me. But usually that's for my taste though anyway. Stage number 13, we're going back into pinball once again, but this time we need to get 15,000 points with your disappearing ball. And as far as you notice that my screen capturing things that the ball sometimes never flickers on screen, as you can see here, unlike reality world that you can perfectly see the flickering disappearing ball. But again, that's all really happens with the emulation of not just only the capture cards themselves, it's more accurately the emulation of some of these games when you're using the capture cards like this. So that's all it really does to me though. Now, this mission can get a little bit more tricky sometimes because you have to guess where the ball is exactly where it is. So, I'm hoping I can able to actually just not to have too much of the struggles, unlike how it does it from any other stages at hand. But naturally, I think I must well be comfortable with this kind of stuff. Unfortunately, I haven't got this game on the forms of a Nintendo Wii's Virtual Console version, unfortunately. But nice for a little distraction, though. But, usually among the same lines as Sonic Spinball, which I also haven't got, but in forms of the Nintendo Wii's Virtual Console version, unfortunately, too. Granted, that's only because, oh, well, that's actually interesting. Every time you reach into the halfway point of this particular objective of this particular challenge, the settings do actually change up slightly into its, I would say a neon lights type of style. Which even then, that it reminds me of something almost exactly a representation to Las Vegas or Los Angeles and stuff like that. That does remind me of those kinds of stuff. Alright, looks like we're doing not too shabby there, I think for the most part though anyway. Alright, that's good. Just hoping if that we can able to actually just to get... Hopefully I might as well get ourselves lucky for those kinds of stuff if I able to actually just not to mess up with those particular movements like this. And again, you need to figure out to, you know, just guess of where the invisible ball is going to be located with. But that's just how it usually becomes. Yeah, there's not much I can tell for this video, honestly, because of how the fact that we have pretty much lack of news and updates and all that stuff. Unfortunately, that might be seems the case, mind you, because even then, well, you know. Okay then, so this might be my 4th attempt on this run through, and oh, that's actually really good. Even way better. Oh, that is even way better. I can at least guarantee I might as well get the rainbow stars from this run through, probably due to how that happened here. Okay, I might as well take that actually. But I need to get even a bit more points than that, mind you, especially with you know, trying to do a special trick at hand, but unless if I try to able to perform a slot machine as much as I can, it will be. But at least I might as well take that, I suppose. So there you go. So that at least give me the rainbow stars. So even then, no, hooray! 576 well, gold stars now. So naturally, we've almost towards the end of the stars count. So even then, though, now we're in the halfway point of the actual bonus stages themselves. Stage number 14, we're going back into Super Mario Bros. Again, but in forms of defeating 20 enemies with Small Fire Mario? That's a bit odd. And unfortunately I failed on that on purpose, probably due to running onto enemies so easily. But yeah, this is kind of interesting to see how the fact that the smaller counterpart of Fire Mario is actually making its appearance in this particular challenge. But even then, that's only because of I think this is probably due to how the fact that it was based off from I don't know, the ROM hacks or something like that? Maybe. At least this could be some exception, but I digress. Now, this mission can get a little bit more, tricky sometimes, as far as you can see right here, because you might ended up running into those enemies so easily, and plus, as a result, it's pretty easy to actually get into the bottomless pit really darn fast, mind you, because sometimes if you run to yourselves into this little dangerous situations like that, oftentimes you might as well get yourself some mistakes around here, so that's a little bit too much of a stingy moment here and there, especially when this happens here. Oh, ay. Come on, I need to pass this stage. Hey. I don't know about you folks, but even then though, oh, you gotta be kidding me. Why is that Koopa Trooper always gets into me? They always get into me on purpose. Jesus Christ. But yeah, the only way you do manage to fail on this particular challenge right here is the forms of obviously getting hit by enemies, and oh, that was really awful. That was really awful section right there. As a matter of fact, that if you get hit at least just once though, that, you know, chances are you're gonna fail this challenge effortlessly. So, let's try that. Stupid. Why did my jumps do not work very well in here? Hey. I kinda wish it has that power up, I'm gonna have to admit though, folks, because it does look really cool. With Fire Mario to be in a small formation, which even then, that does look very, cool looking. Okay then, let's try that again. I'm hoping I can able to do a successful attempt. At least I'm hoping so anyway, but that wasn't until the point until when, you know, some things can usually happen when you get some majority of those mistakes and what have you, if you're doing platforming sections and all that stuff. But naturally I've now finally passed, so let's see what the rankings I've got. Rainbow Stars, how amazing am I? Alright. So let's see how much points we've got. We got 8,945. So naturally, we're almost there to our next step. Stage number 15. I might as well do the last stage before we ended off this video. So defeat the enemy with the golden hammer. Okay, that's just dead. And now we're gonna have to break everything with the golden hammer. So it's by simply we need to. I think I recognize this music actually. This was where before when Super Smash Bros. Brawl, and especially Super Smash Bros. For the Nintendo Wii U, and especially the Nintendo 3DS version, actually claims the Golden Hammer item, which actually represents for that particular theme music. So, yeah, that's interesting. Alright, so let's go ahead and break those last few walls here, and hopefully break those last few walls from each side. Be very careful of that enemy right there, because even then, you need to be right on with the actual hammer swinging onto that enemy, by the way, because if you manage to get the mistake like that, chances are you will die like plenty or so times. Okay, so bonus stage number 24 is now unlocked, so naturally we've got one more stage to unlock before we're able to unlock everything. And I believe that stamp is actually based off from The Legend of Zelda, which I believe these guys are known as Zoras. I'm assuming that's why there's more consumption to it. So anyways, I got the endings off here for this point, folks. So tune me next time on Let's Play NES Remakes. It's the fact that we're going to be hopefully finishing up with the bonus selection of stages 16 through 25. So yeah, see you guys next time. Later, fellas.